Hi, Patranit. Can you hear me?
Good evening ค่ะอาจารย์ I can
Right,
hear you
right.
clearly
Thanks. How are you?
okay I guess
I see. A lot of work?
yeah yeah
Mm.
and how about you ค่ะอาจารย์ how are you doing
I'm okay too. Yeah, a lot of work too. So,
um
in what year you are in now?
uh first year ค่ะ but second semester
Right, right. You were about to say something?
yeah I was just asking you it's raining today at your place
Yeah, a lot and many times.
me too
How about at your place?
yeah it's raining quite hard and yesterday my place was raining too
Oh, yeah. Last night it was quite heavy,
mm.
but
So I guess
now it's still very hot, very humid and hot
oh
right now. Very strange. So I have to turn on the aircon. I
oh
expected not to turn it on, but I can't bear it, the heat and the humidity.
yeah, I think so.
So are
I
you at
think
home?
yeah, I am at home.
Right. So how many subjects to go this semester?
But you mean this currently or the new one for the next year?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, this one I have four.
Wow, that's quite many.
Yeah,
But Thai law students are crazy. We study like crazy.
yeah, I agree.
Actually, I have no idea what they are for. Too much, too many.
Um,
Yeah, students should be give, especially at the level, should give you more time to, study by yourself, do more
um,
research. I think it's more useful. Sitting with
yeah,
a teacher like this is pretty much useless. I'm sure whatever I teach doesn't fit everybody.
mm.
Luckily, maybe one student likes
I
it. Probably
think
not.
your lesson นะคะ
Yeah, I mean, everyone at this level, every student has different interests.
mm,
No need to do to come to the lecture like this. I think
yeah,
teachers should be like advisor or consultant or something like that, and
mm,
uh, give students advice if they wish.
mm,
When I was doing my master, yeah, I had to take some coursework like this, but I remember I never quote any of my teacher's work, and I never care about the lectures because not my interest at all.
oh,
Actually, I don't need to go to the lecture at all. It's nothing to do with my research. But of course, yeah, to meet friends or something like that, or to know more like teachers, that would be the benefits of going to the class. Otherwise, useless. I did all the research by myself.
mm.
How about you guys? Got anything from me? Probably
Yeah, I got
not.
it.
Probably not. No need to be kind to me.
Yeah, I got yeah, I got something too ค่ะ yeah.
Maybe you are too greedy. Get everything for who knows reason. It's not good. You need to be more focused. The higher you study, the more focused you need to be. If you got a chance to do a PhD, things be a lot more narrow, but a lot deeper. So don't get interested in everything. That's the waste of your time and your life. Ask yourself what you want to know or to be expertise in, and that's it. Nothing else. That's how to do the advanced studies. Not just too excited about the new things. No, that's not right. You're supposed to be excited about everything during your kindergarten or primary school, not at the university level. That's very wrong. So 6 hours. Okay, we maybe better wait for the next few minutes. How about the others? How are you doing?
Yeah, we are doing great ค่ะ Thank you.
Wow. Seems you the three of you are doing better than Patranit.
Because last week you mentioned that we should take a break or go to vacation, right?
Right.
So I spent my weekend like booking a hotel and
All right.
yeah, relaxed.
Yeah, next Monday I'm go camping again.
Oh,
Because next
where will you
Tuesday
go?
I have no class, right? This is our last class, so
Yeah.
going to Had Wanagon Beach in Tapscare. Do you know the beach?
I've never been there.
Right. It's maybe if you ever been to Hua Hin, the distance double the distance from Bangkok to Hua Hin. It's at the border between Prajop Khiri Khan and Chumphon.
Wow, that would be nice.
I hope so. And I hope there will be no one except myself. That's why I chose not to go on the weekend.
Yeah.
And
Hope you enjoy your trip ค่ะ อาจารย์
I doubt about it. I hope, I know, I heard that there'll be some monsoon there, but it will be a good chance to test my new tent. Don't know if it withstand the storms.
Yeah.
How about the others? Are you doing fine? Doing well?
For me, not
Okay.
so good.
What's up? What happened?
Actually, in the other class, research methodology class, this coming Thursday, I have to present about the my thesis proposal.
Right.
And then
Love it.
actually, I'm not clear about my topic actually.
I see.
And then I try to define it. You know that the topic is topic of my thesis is really wide, and then the perspective of my my thesis is from human right point of view, from
okay.
human
You
yes,
mentioned
and
that
then
last week.
apply to make the environmental conservation law of Myanmar to comply with the international human rights and also like the human rights in the constitution of Myanmar.
Remember, I told you last week that
Yes.
your scope is good for like 10 PhD research.
Yes.
So I think you better tell yourself to be lazy. The more lazy you are, the better work you get. So try to make it focus very much. But you know, if it's more focused, means the quality is better. Don't do it too broad. Do it as narrow as possible. But too narrow or too deep doesn't mean it's too easy. It's not easy. Imagine the broad topic make things even a lot more difficult. So try to focus on something out of your scope of research. So I can foresee you're gonna have a very hard time this Thursday.
Yes.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions.
And then I try to minimize, but actually the law itself cause many harmful like consequences.
Let me guess why you have this problem. You don't read enough. You need to read more materials until you know click or see some picture, and only you yourself know what the picture is. Nobody else would know. So to read a lot more. No need to read slowly. Maybe you find some materials, articles, or book or so whatever, and just look at them. Maybe some of them are useless for you, so throw it away until you find something out of that from that pile of the materials. Do it quickly. Don't waste your time reading page by page. Don't do that. You get nothing. I know you haven't got it clicked yet. It's like you not get, you know, something inspire you yet. So you have to do it quickly. Like imagine you watch Netflix.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like when you have no idea what to watch, so you browse through everything, right? Yeah, it's that feeling.
Actually, I have read and then the sections that as I mentioned you before, like the EIA, environmental impact assessment, and then also the in the environmental law of conservation law of Myanmar, do not and does not enact the responsibility of the mining company, the
Right.
liability,
Of
yes,
course.
and the national the natural environment the
Resources.
natural resources damage assessment. There is also and then also the polluter pay principle. These are the problems in the section that I want to like mention.
Yep.
Yes. So these are the problems.
Burmese law is a kind of previous version of this kind
Yes.
of law in the world. So it's more
Yes.
concerned about the management of the natural resources, not the impacts. So actually there are a lot of rooms for you to offer new things. So Myanmar at least needs a new generation of laws in those aspects. So
Yes.
even Thailand, we passed that back in the early 70s, around the same time that most of the countries in the world. So now Myanmar needs that kind of transition. Actually, not Myanmar alone. Laos, Cambodia, even Vietnam, they are in the same shoes. Yeah, because I used to help them to draft the new law, so I know. Yeah, the issue, right? So how about Napat? How are you?
I'm not quite okay.
All right.
Simply because someone in my office got affected from COVID-19.
Right. Hope you are
But
fine.
yeah, thank you. But it's necessary to go to like work in physically.
I see. So you are that kind in that risk. So many of your colleagues gonna be in the same situation then.
Yes.
Right. Hope all of you are fine.
Thank you.
Luckily, you can study online, right? For the other subjects.
Yes, but in this semester it's only the subject for me.
Oh, I see. So you finish all of them. Okay, good. At least you have no more classes. How about the others? How are you guys? This is our last class. So, and I don't have many things to teach. Most of the work gonna be done by yourself individually. So we have plenty of time to discuss. If you wish, you can ask me anything really. Gulavi, how are you?
Doing great, ค่ะอาจารย์
Wow.
Thank you for asking.
Wow. Now you are in the best situation in this room. How about Nanyan? Are you okay? You are a bit quiet today.
Yeah, I think uh, I think it's fine. Quite okay.
Quite? All right.
Yeah.
No trouble at your side?
And the weather is not hot as last week.
I
It's
see.
much,
Yeah, we got a lot of brains.
yeah, there's rain now, so it's much better.
Right, right. But at my place, even there was a lot of rain, still too hot and too humid. It's crazy. So I'm sweating and have to turn on the aircon. How about you, Vetka?
I'm doing great. I'm just a little bit busy lately. This week is quite
Right,
chaotic for me.
right. Your the signal from your side not very clear. Are you on the phone?
Yes, I'm on the phone at
Right,
the client's office, so it's a
right,
little bit
right.
inconvenient. Sorry for that.
But you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, good. How about you, Piyatham?
Thank you, Hub. Overall, it's okay, Hub.
Okay.
I just finished the big paper of one subject
Right.
recently and withdrawn some subject, which is the
Oh,
recent methodology because I
okay.
also work at the
Okay.
same time when I
Yeah,
study.
now I know what the term okay means by you.
Okay,
Not
thank
too
you,
bad,
Hub.
right? You mean not too bad,
Yes, Hub.
but not very good either.
Yes, Hub.
Right. So how many? Maybe we shall start. Yeah, today gonna be our last class, and most of the burden of today's class gonna be on your side. Before I show you the video, which is quite long, 18 minutes, I would like to point out some issues. Today's topic is about the climate crisis law, which is supposed to be domestic or national law, like Thai law or something. But for Thailand, we haven't got a law on climate crisis proper yet. There were some draft bills, but still not very clear. So I put in here information from IPCC, UNFCCC. These two are probably the most important international organization on climate change. IPCC is responsible for the scientific issues, while the UNFCCC is responsible for the uh, politics and legal issues of the climate change. So these two things, I just point out the websites, and I expect you guys to go through their documentations to get to understand how they work and what they are doing up until now. And for the sake of examples of national laws on climate change, so I give you the website of the EU on climate change, plus the British and New Zealand Act of Parliament on climate change. So I hope you can look through them to see some examples how national climate law would be like. And I hope you would get something out of today's studies as maybe for the sake of Thailand future climate crisis or climate change law. Yeah, that would be what I expect you to do. And tonight's assignment gonna be individual work. So each of you get a copy of the template, and you have to write down lessons you have learned, each of you learned out of this class. So that will be all the information about tonight's assignment. So if you have Any doubts or question, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will watch the video. Any question about the assignment? Probably not. So let's watch the video.
In case you're wondering, no, I'm not wearing a dress. And no, I'm not saying what I'm wearing underneath. This is a ko. This is my national dress. This is how all men dress in Bhutan. That is how our women dress. Like our women, we men get to wear pretty bright colors. But unlike our women, we get to show off our legs. Our national dress is unique. But this is not the only thing that's unique about my country. Our promise to remain carbon neutral is also unique. And this is what I'd like to speak about today, our promise to remain carbon neutral. But before I proceed, I should set you the context. I should tell you our story. Bhutan is a small country in the Himalayas. We've been called Shangri-La, even the last Shangri-La. But let me tell you right off the bat, we are not Shangri-La. My country is not one big monastery populated with happy monks. The reality is that there are barely 700,000 of us, sandwiched between two of the most populated countries on earth, China and India. The reality is that we are a small, underdeveloped country doing our best to survive. But we're doing okay. We're surviving. In fact, we're thriving. And the reason we are thriving is because we've been blessed with extraordinary kings. Our enlightened monarchs have worked tirelessly to develop our country, balancing economic growth carefully with social development, environmental sustainability, and cultural preservation, all within a framework of good governance. We call this holistic approach to development gross national happiness, or GNH. Back in the 1970s, our first king famously pronounced that for Bhutan, gross national happiness is more important than gross national product. Ever since, all development in Bhutan is driven by GNH, a pioneering vision that aims to improve the happiness and well-being of our people. But that's easier said than done, especially when you're one of the smallest economies in the world. Our entire GDP is less than $2 billion. I know that some of you here are worth more individually than the entire economy of my country. So our economy is small, but here's where it gets interesting. Education is completely free. All citizens are guaranteed free school education, and those that work hard are given free college education. Healthcare is also completely free. Medical consultation, medical treatment, medicines, they're all provided by the state. We manage this because we use our limited resources very carefully, and because we stay faithful to the core mission of GNH, which is development with values. Our economy is small, and we must strengthen it. Economic growth is important, but that economic growth must not come from undermining our unique culture or our pristine environment. Today, our culture is flourishing. We continue to celebrate our art and architecture, food and festivals, monks and monasteries. And yes, we celebrate our national dress too. This is why I can wear my koh with pride. Here's a fun fact. You're looking at the world's biggest pocket. It starts here, goes round the back, and comes out from inside here. In this pocket, we store all manner of personal goods, from phones and wallets to iPads, office files, and books. But sometimes even precious cargo. So our culture is flourishing, but so is our environment. 72% of my country is under forest cover. Our constitution demands that a minimum of 60% of Bhutan's total land shall remain under forest cover for all time. Our constitution, this constitution, imposes forest cover on us. Incidentally, our king used this constitution to impose democracy on us. You see, we, the people, didn't want democracy. We didn't ask for it. We didn't demand it. And we certainly didn't fight for it. Instead, our king imposed democracy on us by insisting that he include it in the constitution. But he went further. He included provisions in the constitution that empower the people to impeach their kings, and included provisions in here that require all our kings to retire at the age of 65. Fact is, we already have a king in retirement. Our previous king, the Great Fourth, retired 10 years ago at the peak of his popularity. He was all of 51 years at that time. So as I was saying, 72% of our country is under forest cover, and all that forest is pristine. That's why we are one of the few remaining global biodiversity hotspots in the world, and that's why we are a carbon neutral country. In a world that is threatened with climate change, we are a carbon neutral country. Turns out it's a big deal. Of the 200 odd countries in the world today, it looks like we are the only one that's carbon neutral. Actually, that's not quite accurate. Bhutan is not carbon neutral. Bhutan is carbon negative. Our entire country generates 2.2 million tons of carbon dioxide. But our forests, they sequester more than 3 times that amount. So we are a net carbon sink for more than 4 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. But that's not all. We export most of the renewable electricity we generate from our fast-flowing rivers. So today, the clean energy that we export offsets about 6 million tons of carbon dioxide in our neighborhood. By 2020, we'll be exporting enough electricity to offset 17 million tons of carbon dioxide. And if we were to harness even half our hydropower potential, and that's exactly what we're working at, the clean, green energy that we export would offset something like 50 million tons of carbon dioxide a year. That is more CO2 than what the entire city of New York generates in 1 year. So inside our country, we are a net carbon sink. Outside, we are offsetting carbon. And this is important stuff. You see, the world is getting warmer, and climate change is a reality. Climate change is affecting my country. Our glaciers are melting, causing flash floods and landslides, which in turn are causing disaster and widespread destruction in our country. I was at that lake recently. It's stunning. That's how it looked 10 years ago. And that's how it looked 20 years ago. Just 20 years ago, that lake didn't exist. It was a solid glacier. A few years ago, a similar lake breached its dams, and wreaked havoc in the valleys below. That destruction was caused by one glacial lake. We have 2,700 of them to contend with. The point is this: my country and my people have done nothing to contribute to global warming. But we are already bearing the brunt of its consequences. And for a small, poor country, one that is landlocked and mountainous, it is very difficult. But we are not going to sit on our hands doing nothing. We will fight climate change. That's why we have promised to remain carbon neutral. We first made this promise in 2009 during COP15 in Copenhagen. But nobody noticed. Governments were so busy arguing with one another and blaming each other for causing climate change that when a small country raised our hands and announced, we promise to remain carbon neutral for all time, nobody heard us. Nobody cared. Last December in Paris, at COP21, we reiterated our promise to remain carbon neutral for all time to come. This time we were heard. We were noticed and everybody cared. What was different in Paris was that governments came around together to accept the realities of climate change and were willing to come together and act together and work together. All countries, from the very small to the very large, committed to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions. The UN Framework Convention for Climate Change says that if these so-called intended commitments are kept, we'd be closer to containing global warming by 2 degrees Celsius. By the way, I've requested the TED organizers here to turn up the heat in here by 2 degrees. So if some of you are feeling warmer than usual, you know who to blame. It's crucial that all of us keep our commitments. As far as Bhutan is concerned, we will keep our promise to remain carbon neutral. Here are some of the ways we are doing it. We're providing free electricity to our rural farmers. The idea is that with free electricity, they will no longer have to use firewood to cook their food. We are investing in sustainable transport and subsidizing the purchase of electric vehicles. Similarly, we are subsidizing the cost of LED lights, and our entire government is trying to go paperless. We are cleaning up our entire country through Clean Bhutan, a national program, and we are planting trees throughout our country through Green Bhutan, another national program. But it is our protected areas that are at the core of our carbon neutral strategy. Our protected areas are our carbon sink. They are our lungs. Today, more than half our country is protected as national parks, nature reserves, and wildlife sanctuaries. But the beauty is that we've connected them all with one another through a network of biological corridors. Now, what this means is that our animals are free to roam throughout our country. Take this tiger, for example. It was spotted at 250 meters above sea level in the hot subtropical jungles. 2 years later, that same tiger was spotted near 4,000 meters in our cold alpine mountains. Isn't that awesome? We must keep it that way. We must keep our parks awesome. So every year we set aside resources to prevent poaching, hunting, mining, and pollution in our parks, and resources to help communities who live in those parks manage their forests, adapt to climate change, and lead better lives while continuing to live in harmony with Mother Nature. But that is expensive. Over the next few years, our small economy won't have the resources to cover all the costs that are required to protect our environment. In fact, when we run the numbers, it looks like it'll take us at least 15 years before we can fully finance all our conservation efforts. But neither Bhutan nor the world can afford to spend 15 years going backwards. This is why His Majesty the King started Bhutan for Life. Bhutan for Life gives us the time we need. It gives us breathing room. It is essentially a funding mechanism to look after our parks, to protect our parks, till our government can take over on our own fully. The idea is to raise a transition fund from individual donors, corporations, and institutions. But the deal is closed only after predetermined conditions are met and all funds committed. So multi-party, single closing, an idea we borrowed from Wall Street. This means that individual donors can commit without having to worry that they'll be left supporting an underfunded plan. It's something like a Kickstarter project, only with a 15-year time horizon and millions of tons of carbon dioxide at stake. Once the deal is closed, we use the transition fund to protect our parks, giving our government time to increase our own funding gradually till the end of the 15-year period. After that, our government guarantees full funding forever. We're almost there. We expect to close later this year. Naturally, I'm pretty excited. The World Wildlife Fund is our principal partner in this journey. And I want to give them a big shout out for the excellent work they're doing in Bhutan and across the world. Whew, it is getting warm in here. I thank you for listening to our story. A story of how we are keeping our promise to remain carbon neutral. A story of how we are keeping our country pristine for ourselves, our children, for your children, and for the world. But we are not here to tell stories, are we? We are here to dream together. So in closing, I'd like to share one more dream that I have. What if we could mobilize our leadership and our resources, our influence and our passion to replicate the Bhutan for Life idea to other countries so that they too can conserve their protected areas for all time? After all, there are many other countries who face the same issues that we face. They too have natural resources that can help win the world's fight for sustainability. Only they may not have the ability to invest in them now. So what if we set up Earth for Life, a global fund, to kickstart the Bhutan for Life throughout the world? I invite you to help me to carry this dream beyond the borders to all those who care about our planet's future. After all, we're here to dream together, to work together, to fight climate change together, to protect our planet together. Because the reality is, we are in it together. Some of us might dress differently, but we are in it together. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, what do you think about the video? Have you seen it before? I've seen it like maybe nearly 100 times. It's so inspiring. And this guy, he was the former Prime Minister of Bhutan some years ago. he remind me to some of my students when I was teaching in Australia. It's the fun fact. All my students are princes of the Bhutan. They were government officers. Like one is the policeman, another one is what's that? Customs officer. It seems like everyone in Bhutan got some royal position. So what do you think about the video? Have you been to Bhutan yourself? No. I heard
Um,
that.
when watching the video, but before that, inside my head, I always have opinion that when the country choose between economic and environment, they decided to develop, if they decided to develop economic, so the other element of the environment cannot be protected. But like Bhutan, they already set up that they want to protect the environment. They try to claim green, but at the end, they also said that, well, their country and their people have done nothing to contribute to the global warming, but now they already affect the consequences. So maybe even people try their best to protect environment and suffer the lower economic rather than others. But at the end, the global warming and the climate change is the issue of many countries, not only one. Yeah, so maybe I think that it's not a matter of the government of that country choosing between economic or environment anymore, but that the issue that every country will suffer the environment issue nowadays. Like they all suffer climate change, even that they choose to protect the environment first. Like Bhutan, they don't do anything, they don't choose economic. They choose to protect the environment, but they still make some struggle with the climate change. So I think maybe we no longer think that, well, we have to choose between environment or anymore. We have to both protect the environment with other countries and can develop the finance at the same time. That's
Right.
my thought.
I hope most Vietnamese people agree with you. Can you think um, can we really follow suit Bhutan? The money is there, and then we don't want money. We want to return to our poor state because we love the environment, we love the forest, something like that. I myself do that, but how about the rest of Thai people? You think they agree with me? I doubt it. I hope some of you would agree with the former Prime Minister of Bhutan and at least do something about yourself with it, as I told you from last week classes, right? We can do it, really. Even it's very small efforts. We can do something. We can teach our children. We can educate our neighbors or our friends. Maybe some of them are crazy enough to follow suit your practice. That's a kind of success, in my opinion. Do something, and you always get something. Some people are crazy enough. Probably not only you. So, any other comments? Yes, please.
One point I like about this is that the country didn't follow the trend of like other countries even like other countries focus on like the economic gaining money or something. But I like the point that they say that they are faithful. They're still faithful in the development
Mhm.
of like improve their happiness, well-being, and environment. So this is I learned something from this. Like even though like there's still small group or minority of people doing something with their beliefs, like caring the environment, even other people did not really care or like doing different thing. It doesn't mean that we have to follow them, but we still be faithful in what we are doing and keep doing it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, the result like will show up.
What would you think if someone tell you, why are you so stupid to do such things? It's pretty much useless. I've been told all the time. So what would you say? Just pinch their faces?
Not really. I think, yeah, I may understand them in the point that they would like maybe they don't know or no one tell them before like the reason behind it, and they maybe not consider about the result, like what will gonna they're gonna face in at the end of the day like that. So I could tell them that the reason why I do it. Yeah.
Right.
But people have different opinion, right? So we cannot
Actually,
force them, but we can, like you say, we can tell them.
right. Actually, I don't admit that I'm stupid or crazy. I
Yeah.
told them they are stupid, crazy, not me. Because some of them are, they really don't know the facts, as you said. At least if we give them some information, it might help. Who knows?
Yes.
There are many factors. Maybe they already know everything, but they have different agendas, right?
I do agree.
Yeah, we can't force the others, but we can give some examples. How about the others? What do you think? Any of you find this video kind of stupid or daydream? Well, Sila, what do you think?
Yeah. I see this video as a good example for the other like the international community. Actually, like after watching this, I think that the government of Bhutan's wish to change and then set a goal first. That is the important thing. And then when we think about the environment, first we have to think about the survival of the people. The government of Bhutan has enough power and supply, like creative maybe depends on their situation and then also their limited natural resources. So the system of the Bhutan give enough for the survival of the people. I mean, like in economically and then in agricultural and like in food safety, like this. So and then after that, the Bhutan go to the step of the like protecting the environment. Why I said that survival is important? Actually, like in Myanmar, we do have grassroots level people who survive depending on the natural resources. Like people cutting tree for coal, charcoal, and selling them to China. And if we want to prevent and protect this circumstance, we have to think first about their survival, their economic first. After that, and then we can protect the forest. Yeah, in Bhutan, I think that they set the GNH, gross national happiness. That is because Bhutan can survive by itself from the natural and limited natural resources. So I think that the government is also important, and then the people, the ideology of people on environment is important. So I think that I got that the Bhutan government wish for change, and also the people of Bhutan follow that standard set by the government, like the policy. And yes, and another lesson I have learned that Bhutan is really a good example in current situation in the area of environment, the global environment. So he said that come together to fight for like a climate crisis. I think that is a good idea to raise a global fund, and then helping like in developing country for the environmental protection. Yes, it's inspired me a lot. I really for personally, I like the way they think and the way they do. It's more like a sustainable development, free education, and free healthcare, and then free transportation. That is good. Actually, they passed the country itself passed the level of surviving. So another level is not for like for greed. Yes. So I think yes, I think that that is really good and inspire me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Silo. I'm glad that you see the picture and actually see the point. Actually, important point. Environmental issue, to be frankly, is for a will of people. If people can't survive, they don't care about anything. They just care about to survive themselves and their families. This is very natural. So Bhutan is doing great on this, and they would have an excuse that oh, we are a small number of people or something like that, and we already cover 70% of the country with forests. That's very humble. Actually, Bhutan was exploited a lot by the Western colonization. So the trees you see today, most of them are not natural forests. Bhutan people grow it. And actually Bhutan has a lot of mineral resources. I think a lot of them being exploited by the Westerns. So they are not poor country. They are rich, but they don't have a lot of money at hand. So actually they have something good, and I think one of the key points is that most of the people, of course, under the great leadership of the kings, not only this one, from previous ones as well. So make most of people know the terms enough. So I believe, I don't know the fact, but I believe that the level of their grades is probably a lot lower than normal people, right? So they know enough is enough. So that's why they are happy with what they have. Of course, they are human beings too. There might be, some greed people or whatsoever. That's nothing wrong with them, right? It's so natural. Yeah, it's so natural. But most of people understand the issues and help each other to do something. And because the government of Bhutan spend a lot of money, I'm sure, to provide those public welfares. So I'm sure most, as you said, most of people there are quite happy with their lives. So that's why they can maintain the forest or the natural resources underground. So they can, I think they are doing much better than surviving. Yeah, I think they live their lives quite happily.
Yes.
And as far as I know, a lot of Bhutanese are talented. So a lot of people are funded by the government and by overseas scholarships to studies overseas. And a lot of them, if not most of them, went to world-class universities. I'm not sure. This former prime minister, I think he graduated from Oxford University or something like that. It's very common among Bhutanese. So the level of their, intelligence is quite outstanding. So probably that's one of the good parts of Bhutanese people. They are intelligent and talented, so probably a lot easier to develop compared to other countries. So they are, that's the prime minister said that Bhutanese people are blessed. I'm quite agree with him. How about our countries? Our people are blessed or cursed? Well, let's see. Well, yeah. Any other comments?
From this
Yes.
video, I would like to point out other aspects besides that our friends have mentioned. I think that Bhutan, both the governments and the king is very smart because they know their strength, they know their resources, and they manage it and invest it to get the outcome that they want. So this point link me to our discussions in the petroleum law that we have mentioned about that we as a Thailand we do have about the renewable energy law that our Thailand we do have the resource to create and renewable energies, but we do not maybe we do not know their strengths enough, and we do not dare to invest it, which is I think it's this point is so contrary to Bhutan because they know how to invest it and they know their strength, and in addition to that they keep improving and keep developing their resource their strength to get 100% used to it. I like the point that he examples of the tiger and the national park that the same tiger survive for many years and travel along the Bhutan, which shows a great management of the resources and how they keep the environmental in the Bhutan to stay the same level, the greenness of it. And moreover, I think that it's quite fascinating to looking how they manage the policies, because in every countries if we want to go green, like manage to go green and leaving the economics incentive behind. I think it do have many things to be sacrificed about it. But in Bhutan, I would like to say that the conflictions of interest is not showing enough. There have no problems in conflict of interest between the private sectors, which they aiming for the business and the money, which is in general would contrast with the environmental. Yeah, but they do not have this problem. So I was like, it's very fascinating, and I like to the governments. I have to say that the Bhutan governments and the people usually they have earned my respect in this topic, and I would like to fairly concluding remarks that I agree with this prime minister when he closing his speech that he proposed these issues to the international meeting but no one cares. But at the year after Paris, everyone like gaining interest in this topic, and he was happy. So I think that's the point. I think that Bhutan, that's great because they have their standing points and they're like purely trust into it. But I think that other nationals have to help or boost this aspect as well, because this also linked me to the first week that we learning that about the climate change, because every one of us human in this world creates are the one who creates the carbon dioxide. Not only just Bhutan people who create it, but we are created. So we cannot like rely on Bhutan green resources only. We do have to like help ourselves at least, and to like acknowledge this and like help maintain our environment as much as possible.ค่ะ
Thank you, Patranit. Wow. I hope more and more Thai people think like you. How about you, Piyatham? What do you think?
I think that the world would be better if the other country followed like Bhutan does. Yeah.
Yeah. So why why other countries would follow such a little tiny country and actually economically poor?
Yes. Because we still lack of the real action, but Bhutan show has one man in this area already.
Right. Probably. Someone is very happy now to create new wars so they can sell more weapons. Weapons are always very expensive, right? So that's, I think for them, that sounds a lot better than doing something like Bhutan. They would think Bhutan is crazy, stupid, something like that. Actually, that's the world problem. Have you ever listened to international meetings like COPs under the UNFCCC or climate change agreement? Actually, you can watch them on YouTube if you search enough. Wow, they are crazy, really. Everyone is selfish. Not many people said like Bhutan. That's a problem, really. Okay, Bhutan, you are doing good. Congratulations. And then that's it. Thank you, Bhutan. Very nice. Yeah, people always say very nice thing to each other, right? But and that's it. I hope one day maybe some of you would change those people to be more honest like Bhutanese people. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy and just dream the impossible dream. Even I myself can't do much. What I think up until now, what I could do just to help our neighboring countries to do a little bit better than what they have been doing under whatever circumstances on my own way. Probably no one notices it, but yeah, someone knows, especially myself, because I don't care. I do whatever I want to do. I hope you would think the same way. I don't know. I can't force you. I can't convince you. It's up to you. We are all equals, right? So, Kulavi, what do you think?
I just think that he was unbelievable person. Like he is one of the most inspiring person, and I grateful that Bhutan and their people and their king care about the world, and I think it's how grateful it would be if more countries and leaders follow by reducing their emission and producing environmental friendly like sustainable energy instead of taking advantage of the world for only for human.
Mhm.
And so I think this video gives a lot of things for the audience.
Have you got any idea how to do it?
Yeah, just a little thing. I think it can help the world.
Right. You don't know how either, right? Titapha, any idea? Probably Titapha is not around. Vetaka, what do you think?
Can you hear me? My signal is clear.
Of course, yeah, very clear.
Yes. So in my point of view, I think it's what is attract me is about what he said about the global fund approach, which I think like it could be another approach that help every country to do like economic aid to every country to care about their nature. To be honest, I used to think about this as a daydream because it seems like impossible, as you said, that every country and every people in this world is selfish. But then when it comes to when the nature gone and the natural resources is out, that I think that's the time that everyone should think like selfish less and think about the general public using more. So but I still try another answer that how could that be possible as well. Yeah.
Can you share that with us?
That's what I don't know now, but my hometown is in Isan and it's Nakhon Phanom, so it's opposite Laos, and I used to go there, and it was in Nakhon Phanom was really hot, super hot at that time. But then when we just across the river, Mekong River, for like 15 minutes, everything's changed. I was amazed at that time. The nature that's full of natural. The weather is just like open the aircon like 25 degrees, and it was amazed. And but the infrastructure, like the road, the river, and everything is still like very poor. And but it seems like people there live their will. They're happy and they're proud of what they have.
Right.
Well, because at that time it was like my mom can speak Lao, so she was like communicate at that time. I was listening, and that's how I found that even if you don't have like electricity or water, but you can live with the natural, and that's like something that is good. But when I came back to Thailand, now it just seems to be hard because we get used to it, get into everything so conveniently. So yeah, so right now I'm just trying to use electricity less like as much as I can. And I also have a friend who studied in the environmental law in a master's degree in the ordinary class, and he told me a lot about environment issue. So yeah, I'm trying to understand and try to help as much as I can as an individual. Yes.
Thank you, Vetaka.
Yeah, no problem.
Actually, our law school used to give quite many scholarships to Laotian people, and a lot of them study in that environmental law program you mentioned. I noticed one thing. A lot of them try to copycat our system. So I always talk to them. You can do whatever you want, but don't copycat Thailand. Laos gonna be doomed soon enough. And these students, a lot of them, after graduation and went back home, I think most, if not all of them, hold important positions. Some, I think one of them is the Minister of Environment at one time, and many of them are like Director Generals to many departments in Laos, and many of them are professors at national universities, and some of them are what do you call, like executives in state enterprises, something like that. So they hold many important positions back home, and I hope they wouldn't copycat us, Thailand. They look at us as a more developed country. I always tell them, yes, we are more developed than them, but in the wrong direction. Go to the right direction, not the wrong direction. Anyone else haven't shared the ideas to us? I can't remember who else haven't talked. Napat, anything to say?
Yeah, I heard one question that triggered me is he said that if someone like increasing my room temperature, how do I feel? I thinking that I will feel annoyed, but for Bhutanese, they will feel like it's not just increasing, only just 1 or 2 onsa. It means that their life gonna be changed because Bhutanese will like their life will belonging to the nature. It cannot distinct between Bhutanese and nature. They live like around they live with the mountain. Like as you know that there are a lot of mountain in Bhutan, and if once that the increasing of the temperature is, they will face a lot of like disaster. Like for example, like the flooding. Just mean only just 1 or 2 like temperature increasing, they will face a lot of like negative effect.
Right. Anyone else haven't talked? This is our last class. Say something. I don't remember. Kulavi, have you talked?
Yes, I already.
Any further ideas or comments?
I'm just curious.
Sure, Shiloh.
Yes, in between like the government of the country usually think about the like the economic development of the country, and then the power, like how to say that politically, like the buying weapon and then increase the strength of the country, like that is the most of the government of the country do in the world. So that is why you mentioned about the UNFCCC convention, and then all the government like the representative of the country like are selfish, and then in the convention. So I think that the government of the country in the world usually like they are usually think about the how to strengthen the country, and then put more weight on the strengthening than like to maintaining the environment. I think that that is the problem. As individual, we have discussed before that yeah, we can change ourselves, but actually the key and then the main who has absolute power the country the government of that country. So like so I curious and why the government put more weight on the strengthening the country economically. It's implicit like increase it can buy weapon and then increase the country strength, right? So the priority of the government is strengthening, not maintaining and protecting the environment. I think that is the problems.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find answer why have to strengthen the
Okay.
country power. Not actually environment threaten every country in the world, and then cost more life than for than like a war. So when there are like a natural disaster,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's affect people more than the war. So yes, I do
Well,
not have answer.
I am not sure if I will have an answer for you, your questions. But think about it. Actually, every government should represent their people, right? If they don't represent their people, that's not the right government. If they represent their people, they would do anything for the people. So the people will, keep them as their representatives forever. But in many circumstances, government don't represent their people. They represent maybe, who knows, right? Mafias or some billionaires or whoever. So such governments wouldn't work for the people, but work for those they really represent. I think this is the key. And I think this key tells many things. If you, any country can make the government really represent the people, everything else would be good almost automatically. If not, I think more and more problems would come. And when I said the government represents the people, it reflects the attitude or mindset of the people. That's why different countries got different agendas. Some countries are so peaceful and rich and well educated. The government, when they represent the people, they would follow people's mindset, ideas, and thinking. That's why we see some countries are like aggressive. If you think further or look further, the government behave that way because their people are so aggressive. If they really represent the people. But I think in many countries, the government don't really represent their people. So the government and the country or the people are different things. So it depends on what give them power. They would go that way to maintain their power or their office. Like you said, why some country buy a lot of weapons and kill a lot of people? That's how that government has to do to survive themselves. If they don't do that, whoever behind the scene would change the cabinet to set the government that they desire. So I think in each country got different problem or different behind the scene issues. If most people know the issue, you can team up together and get a better government. Even in Thailand, most of people don't really know, and in many cases don't really care what our government does, as long as they feel okay. It doesn't mean they are happy. They just feel okay. We used to be more poor or more sad than this. Now it's okay. Nothing is worse than this. It's okay. The term okay doesn't mean okay all the time if people don't think. And this is called, I call it ignorance. Ignorance is very dangerous. And ignorance doesn't mean that people don't go to school or something like that. It's in the mindset. Some people are very well educated but still ignorant. So it's very difficult to to do this. In your country, I mean in Myanmar, in Thailand, actually we are facing not so different problem in the different stage, but not in general, pretty much the same. A lot of people are still ignorant, and they don't care, and they don't want to change themselves for the better or something like that. They believe they are okay, even though actually they are not very happy about anything. Maybe they are too afraid to change, so maybe they are afraid that they'll be even more sad, or everything gets worse than today's. So in my experience, most of the ignorant people are also coward. They have no courage to do anything. They are afraid of everything. They don't want to move anything. They are afraid to lose the current status, even though the current status is not a good one or doesn't make them happy at all. But they think probably is the best for them. That's why a lot of people don't want any change. So they need the right leader. And again, because it's our nature, some leaders were pretty good at the beginning. After some time, when they have power, they have money or whatsoever, they started to enjoy the power or money. So greed, lust, or whatsoever occupy or conquer them, and that's the problem. They change. I think we've seen this kind of people all the time in our lives. Any further comments or question?
I have one question. As
Please.
the written material that you give us, we require students to read about the Climate Change Act of UK and New Zealand. But like the two acts is quite broad. So any specific sections that you need students to focus, because like the whole act is too long and too broad.
Sorry, Nanyan, can you say it again? I can't hear you properly. You said about the acts in two countries, something like that.
Yeah,
then
and the whole act, the whole law of two countries is very broad.
Right.
So I want to ask that what sections that you want us to focus to read, because like when reading too broad, I don't know where to focus and what I should take it now to point to write
Mm,
the essay.
okay. It's up to you, up to each of you. This is your problem. If you find anything you think important and you can show me your idea about it, that's fine. But for some of you would think, oh, only 2 countries, not good enough. I better look at some other countries. Go for it. So it's up to you. In my classes, I always wish all my students think and show their critical thinking. I hate students who listen to me carefully and jot down every single word I said in their notebook. I don't like that. That's the doom. If students do that, they tend to be, I don't say I'm a smart person, but the students tend to be more stupid than the teachers because they don't think. How can you listen to someone and you understand or remember better than what you listen to? No way. It's getting less and less, right? And if people like that become a teacher and they do the same to their students are going to be even worse than them. So I wish all students just give whatever I give as the stepping stone or examples to look further and think critically. Yeah, that's what I expect from my students. But I fail most of the time when I teach in Thailand. But my teaching approach is very successful elsewhere. I don't know why. So I hope you do better than your senior. You understand what I mean? It's up to you. If you don't wish to learn anything, it's your problem too. It's not my problem. But if you learn something, that's not only my success, but it's good for you. If you know how to study and you learn from your study, even after your graduation, your nature of work or study change, it doesn't matter at all, because it's not about the contents, it's about the methodology or the tools you get during your studies and learning. They would help you to study anything in your entire life. You develop your own tools and technique to, to acquire whatever you want in your life. So don't give too much focus on the contents, but look at the methodology, how you get this knowledge or thoughts of thinking, and you're gonna develop yourself differently but uniquely, and they're gonna be good for yourself. And one day when you teach other people, either they are your children, whoever, your colleagues, your junior colleagues or whatever, they will be grateful to you. It's like someone said, don't give fish to people, but teach them how to fish, something like that. Unfortunately, most students in this country don't, and I'm not sure they don't understand or they don't want that. But all my life, I'm about to retire pretty soon, I still teach this way. It's funny, every teacher here gonna be like assessed after they finish their classes, right? Students gonna give the feedback about the teaching of each teacher, something like that. In Thailand, I always get very low mark, but when I teach overseas, I get very high score, too high that even the professors there look at me. Who the hell is this guy? Why he got better assessment, better than me? I'm a professor, full professor. This guy is, what the hell is that? He's a master or PhD student, so he got a better mark than me, something like that. So I'm not sure if I'm a good or a bad teacher. I live in the two totally different world. I got bad marks in Thailand, but I get very, very high mark overseas. So I'm not sure who I am, a good or a bad teacher. Anyway, I don't care like Bhutanese people. I believe what I do is the right thing. That's it. I don't care. Okay. Any of you gonna give further comments or any further questions? Please feel free to. Yes.
I have some questions. I'm curious about the regulations that Ajahn sent to us for ratings. If I'm correct, is New Zealand, UK, and other countries. I just wondering, like, I believe that they do have like the current act regarding the environmental, but that they kind of do divide it into particularly the climate change. So at this point, I'm wondering that these kind of two acts, are they overlap with each others, something like that?
You have to find out by yourself. These two acts from two countries are just two examples. There are a lot more, and it's the current version, right? The latest version. If you can trace back to see their development or history, and if you want to, you can look at other countries' legislation as well. There are a lot more. I just give these two legislations because they are among the first of the world that enacted law related to, no, not related, directly related to climate change. There are a lot more. If you are happy to look further, feel free to. If you think these two countries is already a lot, that's fine too. I'm sure these two acts of parliament would give you some picture, even you are so lazy to look further. They are good laws, and even they are one among of the first, they are still very good. I think I mentioned in the previous weeks that all the climate change laws are still in experiment. It's so new to us, the world. So even I think New Zealand was the first, and the second one is the UK. They learn from each other, and they found a lot of loopholes and weaknesses, and other countries that follow suit, they learn from these two acts of parliament, including the EU. EU is a very good example as well, but they made some big mistakes. I'm not going to mention about those mistakes here. We don't have enough time. And other countries learn from the mistakes the EU made, including Thailand, Germany, and now we are expecting the latest development in climate change law by China. China is about to enact a big law on climate change, and China is very serious about it. I was in the circle as well. I used to give legal advice to the GTO, the Greenhouse Gas Thailand Organization, something like that, for many years. So I got a chance to speak to, even to visit those experts from Germany, EU, China, Japan. I mentioned China, right? And then we share, we were willing to share everything to make a better climate change law. And I think Thailand gonna have one, not into far future. Maybe our law gonna be one of the best at the time, because we learn from other countries as well. So we work in concert throughout the world. Spanish law also very good, but maybe the language gonna be the problem. German law is very good too, but I'm not sure if we can find a good English translation of the law. And South American countries also very good, but I think they are written in Spanish or Portuguese, so probably beyond our reach. Hope I answer your question.
Yeah, ค่ะ thank you ค่ะอาจารย์
Feel free to do whatever with the materials. Use your creativity, your thinking, and share with us. It's kind of to train yourself as a postgrad student. Don't care too much about the lectures. Care more about what you think. And are you going to do some research, right? Like dissertation or something like that at the end of the day. Yeah. Do focus on that. It's a lot more important. Don't care too much about the marks or something like that. You better care what you have learned or equipped with your studies. That's more important. Well, any more questions or comments? Is Kulavi around?
Yes.
Right. Okay, I want to hear from you. Think.
So you want to hear questions?
Whatever, up to you.
Okay, so I just want to ask some simple question. Like, do you can you have suggestion about what is the best way to help the environment, in your opinion?
You, every and each of us. I think I addressed this to Sila's question. It's not about the government. It's about everyone. The successes of Bhutan is not about the government or the king alone. It stems from Bhutanese people, really, in other countries as well. I am not sure I mentioned in the previous weeks about how Australian people that I know quite a lot about them. I wouldn't say they are happy too, but they sacrifice to suffer for the better environment, for the world and for their future generations. They suffer a lot, but they still do that. Yeah, a lot of people think they are crazy, but they understand and they try to do their best for their children and grandchildren. Yeah, I really believe that. And the biggest problem is people's ignorance. If people understand, even though they are greedy or lusty, basically everyone is not that bad if they understand the situation. They would reduce their greed or lust. But because a lot of them don't really understand, so they better focus on what their personal needs. We can change that by make them understand the situation. And the difficulty is that how we make them understand. Someone just tell them, they will understand and change themselves right away. But too good to be true. For a lot of people, we need to scare them. That's why a lot of governments scare their people, because probably scare with something very scary can change people in that country. So the government would use a lot of that kind of things to seek cooperation from their people. So it's our duty to find out how to deal with people in our society. And not only in the environmental problems, I think in everything. If you can manage people, everything will be a lot easier. I used to work as personal assistant to high-level executives in the Thai government. I was very new officers, but I had to control high-rank people like the deputy, or even when I work with the other organization, I have to deal with the head of those organization. Of course, I have no power. I cannot order anyone, but I have to find out how to seek cooperation from them. I can't tell you. It depends on the situation, case by case, people by people. At least I can manage to get them to do what they're supposed to do. Some of them, we have to explain to them a lot so they understand and then do it right away. Some of them, we have to, well, I wouldn't say I cheat them or lie to them, but I have to make a scene to make them understand, because of they are afraid of something or something like that. Sometimes it's kind of dark scene, but they're gonna get to do what they're supposed to do. So I hope you see the picture. The thing is that we have to do that kind of thing with good intention, not to take advantage of people. Otherwise, they're gonna come back and get you. And because those people are of high ranks, right? You will be dead. That's not a good idea. The good thing is to make them feel grateful to you. I always help them, even they did not understand something at the time, but once they got it, a lot of them returned to me and thanked me for help them. At least they survived the situation, something like that. I think a lot of you know how to do it already. So if you can do that, you keep doing it, so you can seek cooperation or control other people to do what they're supposed to do. But be careful, as I warn you. If you do it with not very good intention, you're gonna be killed one day. So be careful.
Thank you so much.
Right. Enough for tonight? Enough talk? If you want, please feel free to. I'm happy to listen. Otherwise, I'm gonna leave you.
อาจารย์คะ
Yes, please.
Maybe
Yes,
you first. Maybe you first, right?
yes, please.
I want to ask about how about the others regulations like Rio declarations and Stockholm declarations, even all the country around the world try to have a general law system to protect the environment, but it still doesn't work. So how about that kind of declarations? Do you have any comment why it is not successful? It's just because people are selfish, so they not follow up or something else.
Yeah, as I mentioned when Sailao asked me the question, each country, each government represent their people. I think in the any talk related to the climate change from now on, I'm sure you're gonna look at those COP meeting. Each government represent in that kind of meeting, they have to, maintain their national interest. Otherwise, if they agree with something that conflict with the national interest, when that representatives or the government return home, they would have big problems. In some countries, those representatives return, well, a criminal. They might be executed or imprisoned. It depends on their system. This is understandable. But if we understand that each representative has to represent their country's interest, their people's interest, probably you can work with them better. For example, I know some people who work for the Thai government and they became very good friends to me personally. These people, they go to all the negotiations related to the UNFCCC. Their tricks is the personal relationship with representatives from other countries. They make friends all over the world, these people. And they would take the chance during the meal times to discuss the issue, to, negotiate or lobby or whatsoever you called it. And they can see some directions of that meetings or that negotiation. So they can set the strategy. Maybe they have to talk to someone else that guys listen to or something like that. So that guy can talk to the other guy to follow whatever you want them to understand. So this kind of an art to deal with this. At the end of the day, you have to deal with a lot of people. Even it's at the international meetings or conference. I think you are the business law students, right? It's pretty much the same thing you're gonna do with business as well. So you have to, to know a lot, not only the matters, but people, and you have to make good relationship with a lot of people, including those you really hate. It's about politics as well. No true friends or enemies in politics, right? Everyone knows. So keep relationship is very important. I'm not a good person to do that either, but I know, yeah, we will have to do it for the sake of, even for the world benefits or for our country's benefits. It will be the same thing. Of course, it's easy to say, but to do it is very difficult. I know, but I cannot make up myself to do all those things. Because I can't make up my mind to deal with some people I really hate because they're really bad people, something like that. But some people are really good about it. Behind the scene, maybe that person really hate the other person, but they can make up their mind to, negotiate or make friends with those people. Interesting. Maybe many of you know well about it already. But to answer your question, I still believe people drive are the most important thing in this aspect. That's why I always ask you to think, to share your ideas, comments. I would like to encourage you to do more about it. I'm not sure if I answer your question, Nanyan.
Yes, thank you so much.
Right. More questions?
อาจารย์
Yes.
I just want like to share with you, it's not like a question, but when you mentioned about the significance of people, yeah, that they are like the main power to change these matters. And you mentioned about the ignorance, the lacking of awareness. Yeah, it remind me of the situations which I faces. Like I was in the restaurant and at that time like the trends of like waste separations is like hit. So like the restaurant have the garbage separations for like the food waste or the plastic for recycle, something like that. And there are the times that where the the covers are not okay, so they're like kind of fail to attach to it. And at that time I see like the owner of the restaurant, and yeah, so they changed the garbage, and I see like the whole garbage is the one. It's not like separations of two garbage. I was like, oh, my whole life is a lie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a very
Yeah.
good example.
That's right.
As we know now, the Thai government is trying to ban single-use plastic bags, right? It's happened to me every time I go shopping at supermarkets, every supermarkets. When I buy like few pieces of thing, so I don't bring my bag because I know I can carry all back to my car. All the cashiers are very kind to me. They try to grab some tin plastic bag and try to put things in that for me. I have to tell them, I don't want your bag, get it back. And then I grab my thing and walk away. Every single time. And worse, some supermarket try to sell plastic bag, 3 baht, to every customers. Oh, you don't have a bag. You want a plastic bag. It's 3 baht, something like that. You see? This is the problem. I'm not sure if the cashier personally don't aware of the problem or they've been ordered to do that from the management. I don't know. But every of them try to give every customers a plastic bag. I'm not sure if you face the same problem. Sometimes when I have to, speak to them not very nicely about it. I try to be polite, but sometimes I can't. I don't believe it. I don't know. Any comments or question? Or you got enough with me? So I will leave. So tonight's assignment is going to be individual work. You understand that? So each of you going to have quite a lot to read or do more research if you wish. If not, yeah, just stick to those materials. Will be fine. Well, if not, I would like to thank for your attention to my classes. And I hope you teach yourself many things, even though I teach you nothing. I think it's more important that you teach yourself something. don't expect to learn from others too much. You might be upset if you learn nothing from them. Learning from yourself is a lot better. You will never forget because you always learn from yourself the hard way. So it's hard to forget. You suffer a lot from learning by yourself. Well, good luck for your studies and don't get sick. And yeah, and all the best for your future. And then,
And I have one question.
okay, Isra.
About like, will you have more like assignments? Like, is this the last assignment, or will you give us more?
Yes. No, this is our last class, so this is the last assignment, and no exam.
No
Because
exam?
I think I mentioned it already. Each class you got like 5 marks, right? That's be
Yes.
for me. So
Okay.
20 marks from myself. Don't worry too much about the mark. You focus on what you learn by
Yeah,
yourself. You are already postgrad students, not kindergarten students. So
that's right. Because like last semester, like all of the teachers like ending up like giving the works at the same time of the day,
that's not
and like
me.
we have like 10 works to handle.
I used to be students too, and I hate that kind of teachers like you do. So
So thank you so much, Ka Ajan.
okay, then
Thank you,
that
Ka
will
Ajan.
be all for this semester. I think you got enough. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
you.